Yo, welcome to Soul Brothers, the finest podcast on Solana, with my dear friend Eno and myself, Simon, where it is our job to throw you into the Solana rabbit hole and show you around in our exciting ecosystem.
Our mission is to take you on the latest and greatest so that you never run out of fun things to talk about. Simon, are you in the apartment or are you somewhere else? What's going on, buddy?
I am in some random apartment in Belgrade. I don't even know what my life's like. Like I woke up at 1 a.m., drove to the airport, and then flew to Belgrade and drove from the airport to the gym. And now I just came back from the gym to this Airbnb and I sat down on this table. And now we're live because we got shit to talk about. So, yeah, I don't question my life anymore. It is what it is. You
Okay,
gotta
so
do what you gotta do.
I was right in saying that you are in yet another new location. It's good to
Yep.
see you, my soul brother. It's been a while. I mean, like we record
yeah.
twice a week, but I still feel I'm starting to miss Simon a little bit. You know, I haven't seen you in a bit, like IRL.
True. Yep. It's the Asia the Asia Roadshow brought us together once in a while, but now we need to wait until Breakpoint. But Breakpoint is coming. It's only how many more nights to sleep? We can actually calculate this. We should, but it's not many more nights to sleep until Breakpoint. Honestly, I think it's like nine weekends until Christmas or some shit. So
It's about like 45 days, I think, until
Yeah.
Breakpoint. So see in about a month and a half. This has been a very exciting week. What do we have to look forward to cover today on Monday?
I don't even know. I don't even know where to start today because how do I put this? The agenda is full. It's
a very
stuff.
packed agenda. Yes, there's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah.
We are gonna talk about, obviously, we need to talk, about something that happened last week. It started to heat up in the Solana aggregator wars, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. That's one part of the show today, because a few companies on Solana, and we're going to name some names later, started to be quite loud about some issues they have with each other. Obviously, they're competitors. So we're going to talk about that. But besides this, we do have a lot of other stuff on the agenda today. We're going to talk about the Solana Wall Street store, basically, which is really cool. I saw that on the crypto timeline. I was like, on the Twitter timeline, I was like, hell yeah, we're making waves on Wall Street. We do have a Solana Wall Street office now with free coffee and co-working space. So we're gonna check that out, look at it. We're gonna talk about some new acquisitions coming from the Pump.Fun ecosystem. And a little bit of bullish news for their token, potentially, which has been performing okay, actually, to my surprise. There's a new collab between one of the most OG NFT collections, formerly Big ETH people, then launched some stuff on Solana as well. And now they're collabing yet again with a big, let's say, Web2 or Normie world company or title out there. So we're going to check that out. And we also need to talk a little bit about what the fuck Trump is up to these days, because he's been pardoning people again. And we're gonna cover that as well, because the person who got pardoned is definitely a crypto person. Let me put it that way. But with all that stuff going on, we also need to talk about prices, because we're pumping. Have you seen the charts?
Yeah, no, I have seen the charts. Obviously, we're looking much better than we did a couple of weeks ago. A lot of the alts are still down, but at the very least, Solana is up. So I'd love to get into what I like to call the coziest part of the podcast. And Simon is going to walk us through the charts. Simon's technical analysis. What is going on in the markets this week, my friend?
It is looking good. I'm happy because prices are moving back up here. I'm having the Bitcoin chart open right now, because I think I haven't said that before, I think, but for me, the current environment and the past 12 months in this current cycle, um, they feel like, I mean, I'm biased, right? But it feels to me it's a BTC Sol cycle. It's a Bitcoin Solana cycle. I think we have when it comes to altcoins, Solana has the biggest mindshare. And there's just a fact that I throw out here without any data to back it up with. Obviously, secondly, I'm pretty biased, but do you feel similar? Like, do you feel as well that Solana, like when it comes to altcoins, like just, obviously there's Ethereum, right? But then we have all the L2s on Ethereum. They have their tokens. We have Avalanche out there. We have some of these big players. But yeah, I feel like, they're not hot. They haven't been highly discussed. Even Ethereum feels like it has one of its worst times right now compared to other cycles. So for me, it's the Bitcoin Solana cycle, really. Did you feel similar?
Yeah, I think if you're talking about in terms of product traction or even the work that we're doing with institutions, it's very clear that Solana stands on its own 2 feet and
Yeah.
is head and shoulders above just about any other ecosystem. And don't get me wrong, everybody has their own cheerleaders, everyone has their own fans. And Ethereum certainly hasn't done poorly this cycle. I mean, obviously there was a little bit of a scare in the Ethereum community, a dip, as it were. But now Ethereum's price has recovered quite a bit. So I mean, obviously their ecosystem is doing well. But in terms of mind share, as well as who do we think is going to do the best long term, it looks like Solana is the best position for this cycle.
Yeah, I'm very bullish on Solana. I think we're going to see really high numbers when it comes to USD dollar per sol. But don't take my word for it. Certainly never financial advice what I'm saying. But I do think that $1,000 Solana is not unrealistic. It has been unrealistic before talking about it, but I think we're getting closer to actually a point where you can say these things without getting canceled directly because it is a stretch, right? It is a stretch goal. Right now, Solana is at $200, $201, and Bitcoin is trading at $115,400. And over the weekend, it started slow. Okay, so we kind of had this weird pump here that happened during last week on Tuesday. In one candle, we kind of shot up there, and then that was inflation data that came out. So there was a macro take. Inflation is on the rise, but softer than what was expected, and risk assets appreciated a little bit because last week people were already anticipating this week's federal funds decision, because this week we're going to get another decision from the Fed regarding rate cuts, and 99% there's going to be a 0.25 basis point or 25 basis point rate cut. And that has been kind of tried to be priced in early in the week, but then it did a lot of sideways action and it was a bit boring in the second half of last week. But on the weekend, we saw the move happened. So what I'm tracking here right now is since let's zoom out one more time here. Since we came down aggressively just 2 weeks ago on Friday, the 10th of October, since then we've been trending down, right? And I have started to track a 1-2 setup here. I identify first 1-2 setup, and that 1-2 setup is right now in its third wave to the upside, which is an impulse. And that third wave had, we haven't seen it yet, beginning of the weekend, but now it's there, because now this third wave here to the upside is actually playing. So the wave 2 support was holding, and now we have one sub count here in green, which is a 1, 2, 3, and we're right now in that third wave here. And then another sub count inside of that green count here is this smaller one on the smaller time frame, 1, 2, 3, and we might have completed this third wave here to the upside, this impulse, because we now, while we are live right now, while we're recording, we're seeing a decline, the first, like, let's say, larger decline that definitely indicates that we're correcting right now, and this looks to me like the start of a wave 4. So what I anticipate right now in the very short term to happen, what my magic ball is telling me, my crystal ball, we're going maybe up again, a little fake out, like a B, and then a C wave down to the fourth wave. Keep in mind, fourth waves are corrections. They're sluggish. They can either play out over time. That means a lot of sideways movement without any big down and ups, or they can move, to the downside. So there would be a retracement until these fib levels here on my chart right now that we're seeing. It would be actually this one here. So the first support line should be around 114,400. So that is the Fibonacci level between the wave 2 that bottomed here and the wave 3 that we're in right now. So if we kind of tap into that support zone, we can stretch lower than that, but typically wave 4s should be shallow, not deep. The deeper they get, the more likely they break, and then we have to put a new count on the map here. But for now, I think we're going to tap into that support zone and then maybe push up to the third wave here to complete the larger third wave. Then we're going to have a larger fourth wave correction and so on. But the good news is we're on the way up again, and pretty much the same thing, is happening to Solana. That's why I started with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is leading the way. Solana is already a bit more deeper in the pullback right now. So if we put our fib level here, to kind of check, okay, where does this correction take us? We're on our way to $199 for the fourth wave correction. So I think as soon as we break below the 200, which we're doing right now, we might see that support zone here between 199 and 195. We can tap into that. We can stay down there a little bit. People are going to get scared. RSI is right now dropping again. And you can actually see that the RSI a lot of times finds support at 30 down here. And I can't emphasize this enough. A lot of people are not using RSI enough, but trading RSI like as an indicator, which signals overbought or oversold territory, is really, really easy, honestly, to do, because all you have to do is understand the Elliott waves we're in right now, have an assumption, have a strategy of the chart, and then pull the trigger of your trade based on the RSI. Because I would never open a trade inside of this third wave here when RSI is already close to 70, because we're overbought already. If you put in a long now, sure, you can catch the next stretch to the upside, but this is pure gamble because we're overbought. We're in the last bit of an upside momentum, right? So instead of being like, oh fuck, I missed the train, everyone made money left and right, and I didn't participate, let me just 50x go in right now and get the last stretch. Worst case, it turns around immediately right there and you're gonna get nuked immediately, and you're gonna have a net loss or even get liquidated from that. So instead of doing that, why not just agree that you were wrong and that you didn't catch that wave, pause over there and wait what the market does. Because up here, when the price was here yesterday, last night, people, and I felt it as well, everyone was like, shit, should I jump in now? But that's never the best idea. Just wait until the next retracement comes and the RSI goes down again, because now we're entering a zone where historically, like, it always bumps, right, from this zone here, from 30 RSI, right? Like the only time it doesn't bump is when the thesis on the chart doesn't play out, your main thesis. So when the RSI doesn't work, then it means, okay, we're actually going deeper. We have to recount the whole wave structure and so on. So I pause here. This is kind of the setup that we have right now. We can talk a little bit technically as well, like about the broader kind of time frames here, and take a look at the Bitcoin dominance as well, which is very interesting. But we can also do that later in the week, because right now I really wanted to do a quick emergency TA, because we are pumping and I don't want people to get nuked by FOMO, right? So just follow your strategy. And if you miss the trade, then just sit it out and enter later or never, or just trade spot. There's certainly other ways to make money in this industry. You don't have to catch every wave here with a 50x.
Yeah, I mean, even if you do trade spot, makes a lot of sense to, I mean, because you could swing trade, right? Using all the
100%.
information that you just shared. There's no reason
100%.
why Simon's technical analysis can't be very, very useful to your trading. But of course, this is not financial advice. This is just two huge Solana nerds who look at the Solana charts basically every day, giving you their takes. But of course, we have plenty of updates from the ecosystem, lots of exciting stuff, a lot so not so exciting stuff. But we're going to talk about it all from A to Z. And I think the first thing that we want to talk about, Simon, is a public good that's been released by the Solana Foundation. It's called Launch. So if you go to launch.solana.com, you can see a whole bunch of open source tools to make it very easy to get onboarded onto the Solana ecosystem. In fact, there's a one out of the four that I'm quite interested in. They have Cora, they have Commerce Kit, they have attestations, they have Solana Pay. Wow, attestation, verifiable credentials and identity management for the Solana ecosystem. Looks like I want to learn a little bit more. And then boom, you got Solana ID right there. I love to see it. So
yeah, bullish on SAS, honestly. There's so much more we can do with SAS, and it's not being leveraged enough. But it's also due to time will come for attestation service, right? When we really need it. It is right now. There's like, especially in the RWA sector, with real world assets, where you do need some compliance and KYC. Usually the apps that are live right now, they do not use these kind of on-chain verification systems. They have their own allow lists of wallets that they basically just KYC and then put the allow tag on them a bit manually. But I think like SAS for me is the future. Like that's where we should push towards. And like especially for KYC, KYB kind of flows, right? Where you have a trusted issuer on chain, and it could be someone like Solana ID, right? Which like one entity that makes sure that the workflow gets done and the KYC is being completed, and we issue the attestation and we write the schema for it. But then the attestations live on chain. Once you did them, they're attached to your wallet, and they can be reused and recycled from all kinds of apps on Solana. And I think the direction we're moving into right now, we're gonna need more of that tech. Because we're building internet capital markets, right? Like we need to have these tools and Lego pieces in the middle to enable that future.
Yeah.
But we're getting there. What do you think about this? What's the domain again? Launch.solana.com. Is it that one?
Yeah. Launch.solana. Is it .com or .org? I just wait. Hold on. Let me just double check.
.com works. Yeah. .com works.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the first question that any new developer will have on Solana is, what the fuck can I do with it? So they're going to be looking at a bunch of libraries, seeing what abstractions are available, and obviously attestations, RPCs, the whole 9 yards. Those are all very, very useful abstractions to have on any chain. So really opens up the toolbox for anybody looking to build a serious application on Solana.
Yeah. Yep. I think it's target audience for this website. I guess it's new entrants, right? New devs.
Yeah, of course.
Hackathon. Yeah. Like more experienced Solana builders, they won't find anything new there.
Yeah. But that being said, even if you are an experienced Solana builder, there are, I'm sure, thousands of different resources that you're looking at. So having a resource that is curated by Solana Foundation themselves, pointing you in the right direction for anything going from RPCs all the way to attestations is always a value add for any developer. And next up, another piece of macro bullish news is that Solana has 62 million SOL in SOL locked into Solana DeFi. That is absolutely amazing. We have not seen such levels since June 2022. As everybody will remember, that is before FTX. So we are at the highest levels of SOL locked in Solana DeFi, since 2022. So obviously, we have recovered, Simon.
Yeah, interesting. Where's it coming from? Where's all that TVL coming from? It's a mix of a lot of things, right?
Yeah. I mean, obviously retail is a big part of it, but I think another unsung hero that's probably not talked about all that much is probably the DATs, right? DATs in institutions are looking to get as much SOL per share. I mean, in the case of the DAT specifically, as much SOL per share as possible. If you're an institution and you're custodying a bunch of SOL, also makes a lot of sense to be earning yield on that. If for whatever reason you're not comfortable with running your own validator, at the very least, you can participate in Solana DeFi. It also could just be retail users who are not on chain, but now have access to on-chain DeFi from off-chain platforms, be it
Mm.
brokerages or whatever, are also now participating. So we have a whole bunch of new sources of new SOL to put into Solana DeFi, and it's just mega bullish for the chain, right? I will say though, this does mean, even though we've reached all-time highs for SOL locked in Solana DeFi, as a percentage of total SOL in the network, it actually is a smaller percentage, right? Because there is inflation. But that being said, it's still mega bullish that we have folks that are depositing SOL into longs or perps pools or into whatever LPing, whatever it is that they may be doing. It's great to have more participation of SOL tokens in Solana DeFi.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's one of the most exciting corners of the ecosystem. Obviously, right? Like decentralized finance has been leading the charge since years, right? When it comes to crypto use cases, right? It is naturally a financial instrument, right? Like it's cryptocurrency. But I think it's super exciting to see how much innovation we really got on Solana, because there's so many teams that are building in different corners. You have the LST teams that are doing LST stuff, and then you have the kind of yield looping people. They do a lot of interesting yield loops. Then you have the perp dexes with their FLPs, with their JLPs, and what is Adrena's APL, I think, or LRP? Sorry, ALP. You have these kind of corners. There's so
Money
much
markets,
like exciting stuff.
Money just straight up borrowing against collateral. It's all great stuff.
Yeah, and Camino, like even one app, just Camino, has so many options to do shit, right? And then the way why I think it's so fascinating is because it is permissionless as fuck. Like everyone can just use these things, right? And there's something for every risk appetite, right? It goes from I'm going to be liquidated next week if something happens to I'm just putting my dollars in some stable to get some 3%, 4% risk-free, literally risk-free if you do it with like Lulo insured, whatever, right? Like you have so many options. And now compare this with your bank industry, right? Like what can you do in South Korea if you wouldn't work in crypto with your money?
Yeah,
Where do you go?
not
what do you
much.
do?
Yeah, not much.
Yeah.
Put it into like a CD for like 3% yield. Which
and
who gives a shit, right?
it's like low yield, no variety, kind of boring even. Like the things you can do with it, especially for retail. Like there's a lot you can do with money if you're an institution and if you know how the world works, right? But for retail and for uneducated people, I actually think crypto is a huge unlock. People always say, "Oh, crypto is so complicated." Yeah, fuck that. The traditional financial markets are fucking complicated. No one understands that shit. No one knows how PE works unless you work in PE and in private equity, and that's where the money's at. And we're not, normal people are not taking part in these markets, right? Like the normal Joe is maybe he has a Robinhood account, right? Or something similar, and buy some stocks and waits, right? But that's what it.
But even if we're talking about PE, we didn't talk about this news in previous weeks, so it was a pretty big news item. But Base bought Echo, right? And Echo, I think they bought it for somewhere around the tune of $300 million, which first of all is
more,
fucking nuts for 2 years worth of work. Am I right? And number two, what Echo does is it allows you to invest like the big boys, right? It gives anybody access on chain to PE. Even what Simon is talking about, PE, not really possible or very hard to participate in the real world. But then we shouldn't call it the real world. We should call it TradFi. But if you're talking about on chain, we already have that, right? And in fact, a very successful company who has already gotten acquired based on that thesis. So I assume that we're going to see more companies like that allowing, and that's what on chain was. Not always supposed to be about. It was more about privacy and sovereign money. But what it kind of also evolved to is providing, access, right? Providing financial access. I don't think Satoshi was thinking about private equity when he wrote the white paper, but
no, not necessarily. But since then, that happened, right? And you cannot, he kicked the can, down the road, and we picked it up and build something nice with it.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. But we're gonna have one of these companies later today as well in the stream actually. So if you are a fan of the show, then make sure that you watch the NOMU YouTube video as well. It's gonna be later today or tomorrow, probably tomorrow, on our YouTube channel. And if you're on the live stream, if you're actually watching this right now, you can also stay here until we're finished with the news, the latest and greatest, because right after we will have an interview with the founder of NOMU, who's building something in that corner. Right, it's not private equity, but it's basically a Kickstarter, a crypto Kickstarter, where you can profit from the revenue that your favorite products make, right? In a nutshell. But we're gonna get there later. Right now we still have so much to cover on the agenda, so what's next?
Yeah, over in New York City, the heart of finance, not only for the United States, but also the entire world, we have a very special edition of the Solana Spaces that was also hosted by the Solana Foundation in collaboration with Solana Spaces. It's called the Internet Capital Markets Store. Very, very cool. It's in the heart of Wall Street. You also might have noticed that on the timeline, I mean, there's always so much stuff going on in the Solana universe, but in addition to all of the moves that the president of Solana Foundation, Lily Liu, is making in China, in New York, there's been basically nonstop coverage of Solana everywhere, everywhere from billboards to advertisements to this store right here. So obviously, if you go inside, you get access not only to launch your company on the internet activation, right? It's like this cute little desk with graphics behind it, and you can set it to be like, we're launching our company, and you press a button. I think confetti falls down. Also, you can buy Solana merch. And if you look very, very closely here, Simon, you'll see something by our friends over at Rockaway X. It says whysolana.com. It is a website that links you over to a PDF, again, created by our friends over at Rockaway X, that explains Solana as infrastructure for digital finance. And it really breaks down what Solana is for anybody who wants to understand it from first principles, right? How big is Solana? Like, what is the market opportunity? What is the traction so far? Et cetera, et cetera. So this is a really cool activation that they're doing in New York. And I bet you that there have been a couple of finance bros probably hopped up on a little bit too much cocaine, checking out what the fuck is Solana? What are we doing over here?
What are you saying, bro? Like you're saying everyone who works in finance is doing cocaine?
I'm saying that there's a very high probability that if you're in finance that you probably do cocaine.
Wow. Look at this. Look, you know I worked in finance.
I know, but you were in Frankfurt. In Frankfurt, I don't know. You guys are so busy eating. What? It's not Frankfurt. It's Dusseldorf.
No, it is Frankfurt. But there's a, how do I say this? Let's say drug dealers make good money there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well, then what are you complaining about? Okay, maybe not you specifically, but my overall point was correct.
Actually true. Whysolana.com, guys. Actually a really, really good document. I sent this to people that asked me, what the fuck do you do with your life, Simon? Like, what is this Solana thing? I sent them whysolana.com and they will understand what I'm doing and why I work in this. It's actually a really good starting point to get bullish on Solana.
Yeah. Another really big piece of bullish news by Solana is Sol, the token, obviously, lol. So Sol is now listed on Fidelity, and not everybody around the world will probably be interested or care or understand what Fidelity is, but Fidelity is one of the biggest retail brokerages in America. So you can kind of think of it as the shitty version of Robinhood. Before Robinhood, there was Fidelity, and there are a lot of folks who use that product all the way, not only from retail users, but to institutions. So now you can access Sol through Fidelity. And it's funny, Simon, how much the environment has changed over the last 2 years. Exchanges wouldn't even touch Sol, right? And now we have full-on TradFi brokerages, as well as, New York Stock Exchange listed companies in the form of DATs. That have made Sol their entire thesis. So I know that this might seem a little boring to folks who keep up with this news day to day or week to week, but make no mistake, this is a huge sea change in terms of how people are interacting with and perceive Solana. So that is some very bullish news that we have such a large brokerage that now allows for Sol custody of their assets.
It's just the beginning. This is just the beginning. It's not a question anymore if institutions accept and use crypto. The question now is how and when, because they're already here. Reminds me of
Yeah.
this amazing marketing clip that the Solana account shipped months ago with the title "The institutions are here," and it is so true. They're active, and it is really, really good for our ecosystem, because what you need as an investable or tradable asset is credibility, and they bring a lot of credibility by hopping on the train and allowing custody for Sol instead of others out there, without naming names.
Yeah. Another big piece of news, this time coming out of the Pump.Fun ecosystem, is that they have acquired a company called Padre app. So Padre is essentially a token terminal, right? It's a terminal for multi-chain trading. And they also claim that they have the highest cashback in the market. And also related to that news is that a snapshot was taken of Padre holders, because God knows that a token terminal needs a token. And and essentially they are giving pump tokens within 24 hours of submission. Holders are able to do so, and they can receive pump tokens corresponding to the value of the Padre tokens that they held at the time of the snapshot. So I don't know if I should say congratulations to the pump team, whatever. But yeah, they have acquired a token terminal, and it is big news for them.
Can you have you checked this Padre thing? Have you heard about them before this?
I have never heard of Padre in my life, but they do have quite a following on Twitter. So I'm sure that I'm sure that they're serious product builders. Built for winning. I don't really know how to distinguish between different token terminals. They all seem quite similar to me, but I'm sure people who actually use token terminals to trade would tell me that I'm a moron and I have no idea what I'm talking about, which is true. So.
So what does this mean for Pump? Like, what is the strategic angle for them acquiring Padre? Is it just a revenue play? Do they just want to make money? Like,
isn't it really interesting that one of the first products that every major team seems to acquire is a token terminal? I just find that interesting. Like, if you look at Jupiter's history as well, I think one of the biggest acquisitions they did in the very beginning was CoinHall, right? And CoinHall was also a token terminal. They ended up becoming Ape.Pro, which then turned into Jupiter Pro, their token terminal. It just seems to me that if you have any sort of swap product or like token purchasing product, your power users are going to ask for those types of features, right? It's like, okay, you have X shitcoin on Y chain, and so therefore, can you please provide me with high quality data, the ability to trade it directly onto Jupiter using those tools? That's, I'm assuming, why they do it, is because their loudest, most powerful users want the ability to trade charts directly, using Jupiter or Pump or whatever it may be. I don't really know, Simon. But
yeah, I mean, you can trade. That would be an interesting metric, right? Like, how many people actually trade on Pump.Fun directly versus somewhere else, right? Because you can also, and I think most of the people will probably either they're still using Telegram bots to kind of snipe and be early in some of these tokens, or they just go via Axiom and all these kind of bullags and telemetry from BonkPod and so on. Because the Pump token interface, it's nothing special. It kind of sucks. Like, it's not beautiful. There's better ones out there. Like, even Jup Pro is already much cleaner and neater, and you can trade any Pump token there, right? So I guess they just want to be more standalone and do more shit in-house because what counts for you as a business is you want that the users you already have do more shit with your shop inside of your shop, inside of your business. And I think that's where they're heading. Interesting choice, interesting pick that they picked Padre, which I never heard of. But we'll see in the next 6 months what products come out of this acquisition.
Yeah,
let's see.
We'll see. And moving on to other parts of the Solana universe, we're going to go over to NFT land. You can see this cute little animation of a penguin holding a Chinese scroll, and that is Po from the movie Kung Fu Panda. So that's something that I think is super interesting. You had so many NFT projects that claimed that they were going to work on so-called IP plays. Pudgy Penguins is basically the only NFT project in the world doing it at this level, right? They're able to negotiate partnerships at the highest level, including DreamWorks, which is not a tiny partnership, by the way. And they have some sort of collaboration now with Kung Fu Panda. So Pudgy Penguins is bringing Pengu into the world of Po, Master Shifu, and Grandmaster Oogway from DreamWorks Animation, Kung Fu Panda. More information to come soon. So this is an announcement of an announcement, but I think it's very nifty that they have, negotiated something so big with DreamWorks Studio.
They've been doing shit like this all the time. They're so good at building narratives, brand, and following around them, and no one can do it like them. I feel like it's crazy how they do it.
This is all positive news for Pengu holders, both the token and the NFT, because part of the promise or the why the fuck would you hold those? I mean, yeah, they're cute, but also you want a cut of the pie, you want a little bit of revenue, you need a narrative to invest in. And I will say that Luca and the entire team are very, very good at executing at a very high level very quickly. So congratulations to the entire team for their collaboration with DreamWorks Animations.
Yeah, hell yeah. Good job.
But that's not all, Simon. We are going to dig into the namesake of our podcast, which is the Solana Aggregator Wars. Obviously, over the weekend, actually the last couple of weeks, we've had a bit of a public spat between the founders of Jupiter, as well as Titan community members, as well as I think one Titan co-founder as well. The sequence of events is as follows. October 17th, DFlow asks Titan Exchange publicly to remove DFlow from their UI. And then that's followed by October 24th, so about a week later, Jupiter claiming that Titan Exchange uses the Metis algorithm, therefore confusing users who might not make the distinction between the Metis binary and Jupiter Ultra. And they are different products. And then you have Titan's response on October 25th saying that they are just using the standard Metis binary. They never claimed that they that they were quoting ultra prices. There's actually been a lot of other back and forth as well, which includes Vidor from Soulflare.
Everyone. Austin Federa, Vidor chipped in from Soulflare. Meow and Xiong are very loud about it. Obviously, Tim and Chris from Titan are joining the founders as well. And it came to a point where even the company accounts made big posts about it. I think that's the pinnacle of every Solana project drama, is when the company accounts start to post publicly, big accounts like Jupiter account, Titan account. Because normally these fights are between the founders, the individuals, right? Which is normally, that's okay. It's a little bit of heckle where you're like, hey, your product's worse than my product. No, my product is better than your product. This is why. Like, you can do that. That's competition. If you do it on the personal level, right? So that's one thing. Then you start doing it with your company accounts. Then it gets kind of serious, public, and almost kind of legal dispute level. It's not anymore a little bit of heckle between the founders or the community. No, it's like it's a war. Right? It's a full blown war, and that's pretty much where we ended up here pretty quickly. Like Titan and Jupiter have been around both for some time now, but Titan recently launched their open beta, so it was closed before. So that has been like a month now, a little bit more than that. And since then, I think this topic became more and more relevant, and now it peaked.
Yeah. The crux of it is that Titan is growing very fast. And I don't think that principally Xiong and Meow actually have an issue with the competitor growing fast. Their Jupiter at this point has nothing but competitors because they do so dang much, right? And if you're trying to build the DeFi super app, then obviously you're just going to have competitors everywhere. So it's not that I think that they have an issue with competition. They specifically feel like the way that Titan was displaying information on their website was deceptive.
Right.
Speaking from someone that's like right in the middle and loves both teams, I don't think it was malicious on Titan's part at all. But certainly, I do think that certain changes were warranted. I also hope that certain reciprocity will be met as it pertains to Titan's data, since they're using the Metis algorithm. I'm sure that those conversations are ongoing. I also know that there are probably tons and tons and tons of peacemakers. I am probably the least significant out of anybody in the middle, but I'm sure that there is outreach on both sides trying to break the stalemate a little bit. I'm sure that the stalemate has already been broken to some degree, because if you look at Titan's website right now, you are actually pointing this out. One of the major demands. Yeah,
share my
one
screen.
of the major. Yeah, perfect. Yeah,
this one, right? That's what you're talking about. So
DFlow has been removed, right? DFlow has been removed from the quotes as per their request. And also Titan has clearly labeled the Metis binary to Jupiter. So obviously it's not going to be a quote in the same state, which actually matters if you're trying to figure out who has the best pricing. It's clear that Titan has competitive pricing. I don't think anyone is saying that they don't. It's just, it really ruffled some feathers the way that they went about it. I don't personally think it was malicious. They've clearly taken steps to try to remedy the situation. And I don't know. I don't mind competition, but I don't like when things get a little, heated.
It is. Look, the stakes are high, right?
Stakes are high.
It's a huge market to capture. It's a big opportunity for both of them. Jupiter has been almost the monopoly on swaps. Like, let's keep that in mind, right? For quite some time now on Solana. Like, they've been the only meta aggregator really out there that is doing it on that level, right? And they integrate their API into a bunch of third-party apps, right? They all route through Jupiter, including wallets like MetaMask. Is MetaMask Jupiter on Solana? This one I'm not 100% sure, but protocols like Uniswap, right? Like these kind of third-party apps, they use Jupiter. So they have they had a lot of power in the ecosystem, and they want to keep that power because it is making them a lot of money, and it's very healthy for them. And they do have a tradable asset that is live right now, which is the Jupe token, which is definitely under pressure, right? They are under pressure. They're internally fighting, to be the best DeFi super app on Solana and to make it right to their token holders, as they should, right? Get the price into the token. A lot of public interest in that, a lot of stakeholders, that are involved in this, a lot of community voices, a lot of pressure on the founders and the whole Jupiter team. So that's one thing. Then you have Titan, who are like, I think on the timeline they called them the bullies. Like they're coming now out of nowhere, and they're like, hey, we're ex quants, we're ex TradFi traders. We know what the fuck we're doing. We're going to do only swaps, and we're going to do it better than you. And it's a big statement. I love it because it means competition, right? Which is good for the ecosystem. And again, the stakes are high because Titan they have to deliver now, right? Like they have to. They brag a lot. They say a lot of things in their marketing. They have to deliver now. So there's a lot of interest on both parties to be the best and to outperform the other. And then you have the nature of crypto Twitter, which is always, more on the extreme side of things when it comes to the level of how spicy is the talk. There's a lot of shit talk on Twitter, right? And there's a lot of memes, and shots get fired, and that's what has been happening so far. So I think we have to distinguish a little bit during this war between actual facts, like things that are wrong, like malpractice, like you shouldn't do that, right? Maybe on both sides. Maybe Jupiter should have been a bit more clear with what the fuck this Metis thing really is and why it's not being worked on anymore, and how, like, there was not a lot of. They just changed the GitHub for Metis like a day ago or 2 days ago on the weekend, I think, and updated it a little bit with new wording and made sure that it's marked as outdated. they probably should have done that a little bit earlier. Like they could have avoided maybe a little bit of that stuff on Jupiter side of things. Titan, okay, they do have some sort of. I think they have to at least allow Jupiter to use the Titan API, which they so far haven't, which is one of the big concerns that Jupiter has. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, at least as we know in public, right? And
Yeah.
I guess the thing that kind of perplexes me about this entire situation is that fights between founders on Solana happen all the damn time, guys. Like people
Yeah.
have problems with people. Not every just because we're like all one ecosystem and like we are all bullish on the Sol token doesn't mean that we all like each other, and it certainly doesn't mean that we all cooperate with one another. But usually those disputes are settled privately, right? So like you might have a problem with somebody, but you get on. I mean, everyone's accessible through Telegram, right? Like it's obvious that they're in contact. For whatever reasons, the comms privately broke down. I don't know what those reasons are. I certainly don't think that it's malicious on anybody's part. But those discussions are now spilling out into public, and quite frankly, I don't think it's a good look for anybody. I don't think it's a good look for Titan. I don't think it's a good look for Jupiter. I'm not one of those guys that's all like, well, you can't have competition. Like, and certainly it's fine for. Michael Jordan famously is all like these new basketball players in the NBA, they're all friends. But like back in my day, like if you were serious about winning the fucking championship, you wanted to murder that motherfucker, right? Like it's not like we're friends. It's like, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. Right. So there's, it's competition doesn't necessarily need to be healthy, honestly. Like it can be a bit, but here's the thing. What I would like to see on Solana a little bit more, and I made a post about this the other day, I'd like to see a bit more creativity and genius when it comes to fighting each other. I want to see it being done in a witty way, with a little bit of humor but finesse. I don't know how to describe this, but there's been a few companies in the world that have done this really, really well. And Mac and PC have been doing this when Apple was new a lot. Like Apple did these commercials and they're hilarious. You should look them up on YouTube. I'm a Mac, I'm a PC is the title of it. And it's like this quirky guy that looks like with his shirt, like looks like a guy that's kind of boring in the office, kind of whatever. Not very interesting. And this other guy looks like a little bit more hip, right? Like young and and then the ad is basically just them standing in front of the camera, and one is a Mac, one is a PC. You can already tell which one is the PC and which one is the Mac. And then they do they say some stupid stuff that's very cliche and very superficial between these two brands. But Apple did that in a very creative way, and they're literally shitting on PC. They're like, PC is boring, PC doesn't work. They say a lot of things in the clip where you're like, it's actually true. Like, and then it is definitely shots fired. It's very competitive, but it's funny. It's not. They're not screaming at each other. Coca-Cola and Pepsi did that a lot. Car companies do that a lot, right? Burger King, McDonald's had some fight in the past. It was really funny as well. You have Nike and Puma, I think. You have fucking 50 Cent and who was it?
Kanye.
Who did he? Kanye. Yeah. So you have all these fights between competition. They can be interesting and fun to watch. They don't need to be weird and personal, right? So
very, very personal.
Let's see where it goes. For now, I think we're making progress here and there. Things have been said publicly. Bottom line, Titan got a lot of marketing exposure from all of this, so that's great for them. And you can see it on chain. They actually grew a lot of volume in swaps over the past week, which is people trying out Titan to see if it's true, right? And there have been a few videos. I can call out Token Guy .sol, I think, who did a great comparison also between Titan and Jupiter. And these people are usually completely unbiased.
Objective.
They don't give a shit about they don't give a shit about what label is on the front end. They just look what executed the better price. Executed, not quoted, executed. So you execute the trade, you look on chain, and you're gonna see what's performing better. Keep in mind though, Titan right now is not charging any fees. They're not making any money as of now, to my knowledge. So that means that usually their prices should be almost all the time better, because if you use Ultra, the best Jupyter router you can get, there is a fee involved. So it's a bit of a uphill battle for Jupyter, right? Let's see if they're going to remove their fees at some point to just be better. that would be the end game for them. But anyway, this is the aggregator wars. Obviously, big part of today's show that we wanted to deep dive into. Do you have any final takes on this, or shall we move on?
I think that this shit is going to happen a lot more. That's what I think, especially in 2026. I think shit is going to get a lot more personal and a lot more public. And like, I don't know. I don't look forward to that era. I over the last few years, we've had what Chase from Solana Mobile has called a truce between all the different dexes and protocols. I tend to agree. With the wallets have always been a little spicy. They've been a little sassy. They like to shit on each other a little bit. But at least for everybody else, even if you were a competitor, it's like, okay, you don't fuck with us, we don't fuck with you. We just kind of stick to our own lanes, and then we try to acquire customers in the open market, and we don't really talk about each other all that much. And that's the truce, right? I don't know if that truce is going to hold. I would like, maybe this is just idealistic of me, and this speaks more to my own personality, but like, I do like truces. I like clear rules of engagement. I know that you are in favor of a little bit of light creative ribbing, which I don't necessarily mind. But I'm not looking forward to an era in which like new Solana founders are sniping at old Solana founders, and now we feel compelled to respond. Like, this just like doesn't sound all that fun to me. But yeah, might be much more common.
Yeah, a balance might be the right way to go here. But yeah, moving on. What else do we have?
Our favorite Orange in Chief has pardoned CZ for his crimes. What were CZ's crimes? Well, he was clearly, I mean, I don't know about him personally, but at least his company, Binance, was clearly operating in the United States. They claimed that they had proper protections against providing access to their exchange by U.S. customers, and they clearly didn't, right? Anybody with a VPN and half a brain could access Binance, and there were internal company communications that were taken from CZ's phone, and I believe some other phones of Binance executives, that clearly pointed to that they were aware that they were in violation of those regulations, and they did it anyways. They didn't give a shit. And so, I mean, now you can have another broader discussion of like, does that law even make sense? Like, should the U.S. have the ability or the power to stop its citizens from accessing exchange? That's a completely different philosophical conversation. What is not up for debate is what were the laws at the time, and was Binance in violation of those laws? The answer to both of those questions is yes. It was illegal, and they did it. And so CZ went to prison for exactly 4 months. Anybody who's a Binance fan knows exactly what this means. FUD. But anywho, or no, it's what doesn't 4 just mean to like? Nick would know what the hell this is. Yeah, no, four means like just keep building or something like that. It's like forget all the FUD and just, I don't know. He has like a list of different things you're supposed to do when you have like lots of FUD, and like the 4 fingers means like I'm just focused on building. I'm not paying attention to anything you fuckers are saying.
That's a CZ thing. It's a
CZ thing. It's a CZ thing. Yeah, that he made it into a meme on his account. So now, anywho, he's already out of jail. So I guess all the pardon doesn't commute his crime. All it does is it scrubs it from his record. He's no longer, I believe, a felon, because that shit is permanent on your record. But if you get that, expunged from and there's a bunch of things you cannot do if you're a felon, including be the CEO of your own company, in which Binance, CZ has not been the CEO of his company since he came back from jail. So I actually think that this paves the way to a new era of Binance where CZ is back at the helm, because that was one of the conditions of being convicted felon. Can't hold an executive office in a company. Now he can, I think. So congratulations, question mark.
I mean, Trump, the living example that you can even be a president with a track record that is a bit sketchy. Like, he might have some. He might have some. How do you say? In German, we say bodies in the basement. I don't know how to say it in English. There's a phrase for that as well. Like you say, how do you say when you have dead people in the casket? No, what's it like? How do you say?
Oh, skeletons in the closet?
Skeleton in the closet. Yeah, we
Yeah,
say
but bodies
dead,
in the basement. I see. Yeah,
dead bodies
makes
in the basement. Yeah. Ein paar Leichen im Keller. That's what we say in German. But yeah, so Trump pardoned CZ, very interesting. And also some of the quotes from Trump are kind of funny. He says, I don't know him. I don't believe I ever met him. As I was told, they said what he did, it wasn't a crime.
Yeah.
Awesome. That is enough ground for me to pardon him. Maybe there were some sketchy deals in the background, you know. Maybe they shook some hands. Maybe he does know him. Maybe, you know, Trump does some crypto stuff. Maybe he wants to have a good friend in the industry that has some power.
The way that both Trump and Biden have used presidential pardons has completely broken its system. Like in the beginning, presidential pardons were used very sparingly, and also the news paid attention to every single pardon, and so like that was the check and balance, right? The president didn't abuse the system, and the press would keep the president honest, because like I don't know, if like the president were to release a serial killer, I mean the news would probably fucking report that shit, and that would be a problem. But you know, both of those presidents have used pardons in a way that I feel to be inappropriate. I think going all the way up into the Obama presidents, I mean, like every president has used the pardon at their own discretion, usually at the end of their first or second term, because who gives a shit, right? They're going to be out of office. But yeah, no, it's clearly being abused at a level that is I'm not comfortable with. Obviously, that has been in the interest of like Ross Albright is a person who I think did not deserve the sentence that he got, but you know, I think the way that he got his pardon is a little bit sketchy. I feel the same way about CZ, as well as Ghislaine Maxwell involved with Jeffrey Epstein. All of them have gotten pardons by Trump, and basically these pardons are it's a get out of jail free card, man. It's crime is legal season. It's if you have anyone near Trump, you're allowed to. So now I feel like this is why we can't have nice things. This is why we have to get rid of presidential pardons now, because you get one asshole like Trump, and then he just anybody who gives him a cookie gets a pardon. You know, that's what that kind of feels like to me. So,
do you guys feel like Eno doesn't like Trump? I don't know. It's a feeling I have sometimes in my gut. I don't know where it comes from, but you might be able to tell based on how he talks. But enough of the Orange Man. Let's talk about some news from our partners. What do you got on the agenda?
Yeah, so we've been hyping up the Soulflare card for quite some time. Everybody in the Soulflare universe has been hyping up the Soulflare card. And now over 117,000 users are getting very close to unlocking the Soulflare card. Will you be one of them? Well, that's very easy. First, you have to obviously complete your KYC, and there is $100,000 in rewards. 50,000 of that goes to the top 20 promoters of Soulflare card by points, and the other $50,000 are going to be raffled off. So you have up to $100,000 in rewards to help spread the good news for Soulflare card, and over 117,000 signups. That is absolutely fucking fantastic.
117,000 users signed up and KYC for the Soulflare card. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of. That's a lot of users for our little crypto bubble here. Good job, Soulflare. And they're not done yet. Job's not finished. Job's not done. The campaign stays open for longer. We don't have an exact timeline, but from sources, I know that it's gonna stay longer open for a little bit more. So we can still anticipate the campaign and make sure that we get our raffle tickets and our hands on a Soulflare card. And you can sign up to it to get a little head start, some head start points. You can use our link, which is waitlist.soulflare.com/soulbrothers. Waitlist.soulflare.com/soulbrothers. And Soulflare are not the only ones who shipped some updates. What do we got from the friends over at SNS?
Yeah, no, so this is really interesting. So if you trade SNS, your character gets a little boost of speed over on Mattel Fun, and you're like, what the fuck is Mattel Fun? Mattel Fun is an on-chain game, and what they do specifically is they have a game where your on-chain activity actually fuels how your character performs in the game.
Nice.
And so that's what I meant earlier by if you trade on SNS, your character will get a speed boost. So that's kind of funny. You can that's a new take, I suppose. Trying to get people to behave in very specific ways by giving them I don't know, different skins or like different EXP or character boosts or whatever the fuck. So that's interesting for sure.
Yeah, it's a different twist on leverage your on-chain reputation. What I've been preaching since a while now. It's
Yeah.
a gamified twist on that. Actually, really funny. Might work. Yeah, might be a good idea. Hackathon. Candidate metal.fun. Good stuff. What
Yeah,
else you got?
and if you connect your wallet over to Magic Swap, which is a DEX aggregator swap router on Solana powered by Mystic DAO, you can see your SNS name live. So for those of you who are not new to the show, you know that SNS puts a ton of work into making your SNS domain name work for you in every single platform you could possibly imagine. So you can now use your .sol domain in Magic Swap Pro. I think the last piece of SNS news that I'll share is that they are on the road. I mean, Ohm is perpetually on the road. She is always spreading the word, finding new partnerships. She does a lot of that BD work herself. And now she's going to be obviously over in Shanghai, in Hangzhou, in Shenzhen, and now Dubai right before Breakpoint for the Solana Economic Zone in Dubai. That's going to be very fun. So if you want to travel the road and meet the SNS team, Ohm is very friendly, and she can meet you in any of those cities.
Yep, it's gonna be cool. SEZ is usually really well structured, very high quality event. So gonna be pretty good this year as well. And then obviously we got Breakpoint right after. What about our friends from FlashTrade? Anything we can share? Any news we need to double tap on today?
Yeah, they have a bit of a insane looped play for a token called FLP.2. So FLP.2 is now available on Loopscale, where you can max leverage it for an APY of 576% with 10x leverage. That is fucking nuts. What is the liquidation risk on this FLP.2?
Well, the good news is that the FLP2 is the stable pool token. So that means the stable pool FLP2 they act as counterparty to all forex and commodities markets on FlashTrade. It contains only USDC in it, so it is the most stable FLP pool out there. That's why it's called the stable pool. And the APY on it is naturally pretty good already in FlashTrade. It sits at 35% right now, weekly APY, which is a number that's constantly going up and down, depending on the amount the underlying assets, in this case commodities and forex, are traded. 35% is already pretty good weekly, but if you want to compound that APY, you loop it using Loopscale, and that's where the fun begins. But let me think about that. Liquidation price. Actually, I have no idea. What happens if you loop a stable asset?
Yeah. I mean, I just don't understand why people do not talk about FlashTrade and their tokens more. I'm not even talking about just FAF. I'm just talking about all the FLP tokens are super innovative. And so like that's actually, I mean, if the liquidation risk is low, I want to learn more about the risk of FLP. I want to get fucking Anas on here so I can grill him about how FLP2 works. But 463% leverage is that what? That's fucking nuts. That's crazy. I mean, like, look, even if you told me 100%, right? Like this is way exceeding beyond anything that I would ever ask for. But like, well, I mean, perhaps why the yield is so fucking juicy on these pools is because they are so underfarmed, right? Like, obviously, this is true for any product, but the more capital you get in it, the more the yields compress, right? So, like, if you have like a million people looping, $1,000 into FOP2 on loop scale, there's no fucking way that you would get 463, 500% on the loop. But, that's probably just because not a lot. So maybe we should just keep this as a secret for all Soul Brothers listeners. If you guys want to earn a very sexy APY on your stablecoins, you should consider looping FOP2 on loop scale.
Yeah.
Because that's fucking sexy as shit. I love that.
I mean, just keep in mind right now, I think the assets under management are capped and the cap was exceeded for a reason. So
probably so they could keep up these rates.
APYs. Yeah. So yeah, you have to watch the pool a little bit to be able to get your share of it. Because again, it is right now at 100% target. It has a max target of 518,000 USDC, and it's sitting right now at 545. So yeah, the max target has been exceeded, and I believe you can try it out if you can mint the tokens right now. It might be possible that there's a little bit of wiggle room, but can't guarantee it. But definitely, fucking juicy yield. Not gonna lie.
It's very sexy. Okay, well, we are at an hour and 7 minutes. It has been a very, very long podcast episode. We are not even done yet because we have an interview with Daniel, who is joining us soon-ish, I think, in about 7 minutes or so. Ain't that right, Simon? So
that is right. But for the podcast audience here, if you're listening to this later on YouTube or on Spotify or on Apple Music or wherever you're listening to Soul Brothers, then you can catch that interview with Daniel from NOMU. Very interesting app on Solana. They're launching their token today on the Monday of this week, on the 27th of October. If you want to learn a little bit more about NOMU and how that token, how that TG went, then you can check out the interview on YouTube. Just look for it. It should be live later this week on YouTube as well. For now, thank you so much for listening to Soul Brothers. This was your latest and greatest to kick off this week strong, because it is going to be a big week, and it started really well with a weekly close that was quite bullish for Bitcoin and Solana. So let's see what the Federal Reserve decides to do with the interest rates. But before they make that decision, we're going to have another live stream for you and another recording later this week. So we catch you at the next one. Thank you so much for listening, and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube account. Thank you so much. We'll see you at the next one.
Bye. But we're not actually going to leave, because we are now going to work on timeline reactions. Yes, so we got 4 of them, Simon. We got US and China. We got CZ's pardon. Zell, interesting. And Trump. Helping rebuilding the White House. So which ones do you want to take? I don't care.
Yeah, we just start from the top. You want to start? You want to kick it off with the first one?
You want me to do China? China?
Sure.
Yes.
Just real quick for the live stream audience, FYI, we are recording some short clips now together with you guys. You can just chill here with us, but we're not going to stop anytime soon, because in around 5 minutes from now, plus or minus, we might do a little break in between, but we're not going to stop the live stream. And then we're gonna start right away with Daniel from NOMU. So you can hang around here if you want, and listening to us recording our shorts right now, and then jumping right into the interview with NOMU. So yeah. All right, let's go.
Yep. All right, Caveman, this is for you. Timeline reaction number 1, and go. The U.S. and China just avoided a full-blown trade war. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that both countries have agreed on a substantial framework to prevent Trump's planned 100% tariff on Chinese goods. Talks are happening as Trump meets Xi Jinping during his Asia tour.
Nice.
Cool.
Next one. President Trump just pardoned Binance's founder, CZ. Trump granted a full pardon to CZ, calling his 2024 conviction a witch hunt by the Biden administration. CZ served 4 months for money laundering violations before being released in September 2024.
So a really cool fun fact about Zelle. I remember my first negotiations at Samsung being with Zelle, and Zelle back then was just starting. It was a small consortium. So interesting that they're moving into
I have
crypto.
never heard of them, you know.
It's like an interbank consortium that it's a SDK that you have to integrate into the banking apps. It only works within the banking apps. It was a response to Cash App and like all of these other third-party transfer services. It was like a way to try to keep customers in the bank app. Worked pretty well actually.
Interesting. All right, I haven't heard about this announcement, so yeah, go ahead. Let's get your short in the box.
Oops. All right, try that again. No, it's fine. 3, 2, 1. U.S. money transfer consortium Zelle is moving into crypto. Zelle just announced plans to support stablecoins like USDT and USDC for international transfers. This update will make cross-border pay. Fuck. Okay. 3, 2, 1. U.S. money transfer consortium Zelle is moving into crypto. Zelle just announced plans to support stablecoins like USDT and USDC for international transfers. This update will make cross-border payments faster and cheaper for bridging. Fucking Jesus Christ. Bridging traditional banking with crypto rails. All right. 3, 2.
You can do it.
No, I can't. U.S. Money Transfer Service Consortium. 3, 2, 1. U.S. Money Transfer Consortium Zelle is moving into crypto. Zelle just announced plans to support stablecoins like USDT and USDC for international transfers. This update will make cross-border payments faster and cheaper, bridging traditional finance with crypto rails. Fuck it. I don't care. Can't do it.
Real quick, I know we have someone backstage. Danny, FYI, we're just wrapping up our daily tasks here together with the community. We just recorded an episode of Soul Brothers. Everyone's just hanging out, and we're officially going to kick off your bit in about 3 minutes, I guess. We might do like a 2-minute pee break, so that we're going to go live in I guess like 5 minutes ish. And while you're waiting back there, Danny, you can already connect the NOMU account by clicking on login and then co-stream to your audience, and make sure to be logged into NOMU on your browser. Okay. Now, one more, right? The last one for me.
Let's go.
Okay. Cool. Crypto are literally helping Trump rebuild the White House. Bullish. Okay. Crypto firms are literally helping Trump to rebuild the White House. Coinbase, Ripple, and Germany were named among the top donors funding Trump's new $300 million White House ballroom project. The donations have sparked debate about influence and favoritism, especially after Sisi's pardon. Supporters say it is proof crypto has gone mainstream, while critics say it's just pay-to-play politics. Interesting short clip. Hasn't been that way since literally ever.
I mean, he hasn't tried to he hasn't destroyed the east wing of a historic building.
He did?
To build he took a literal, like, when I say that he took literal construction equipment and just demolished the east wing of the White House for his fancy little ballroom.
Wow.
Sure, bro.
All right. This man. No surprises anymore. Okay. Also, there was one topic, but okay, we might do that later, or I'll do that alone, Nick. I saw it in the comments right now. Danny, real quick, just to talk to you before we go live. One moment. Okay. I mean, we are live, by the way. So hi, Danny.
Hello, guys. I think I just streamed it to...
yeah, I see it. Yeah, you're good. So yeah, everyone who's right now in the live stream, this is Daniel from NOMU, and we're gonna go and record a podcast episode together with Danny now. So yeah, we're basically just doing a cut in the middle of the recording here for our podcast. And everyone who's in the live stream right now, if you watch the shows that we just did, we're just going to continue now with another recording, which is an interview with Danny. And you're going to learn all about him and what he's doing and what's happening later today in the recording. Anything operational to discuss before we jump into it? I think we're good. The main topic is going to be NOMU and the token, in my opinion. If that's all right. Yeah. You can.
I think we're going to do the pre-roll, and then we'll just go straight into the interview. All
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, we're going to do pre-roll. So we have like 2-3 minutes of pause now, of pre-roll, Danny, and then it's me and Ino introducing the episode, and then we're going to bring you on.
All right, pre-roll starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's fucking go!
Go. Welcome to Soul Brothers, Solana's finest podcast, together with my co-host Eno and myself, Simon, where it is our job to throw you into the Solana rabbit hole, show you around our exciting ecosystem, and also introduce you to some exciting founders we have on chain.
Our mission is to take you on the latest and greatest so that you never run out of fun things to talk about. Simon, we do have a very special guest today. He is a dear friend and can't wait to talk about all the stuff that he's working on. We also have a collaboration in the works with this fellow. So can't wait to talk about all the things that we will work on in the future with him at a later date. But first, of course, we have to talk about the stuff that he's doing in the present. In fact, he's reached some really interesting milestones on chain, including NFTs. But that's not the full story, of course. There's a whole vision and mission behind this man's company. And so it is our absolute pleasure to introduce to the stage Daniel, the founder of NOMU. What's good, Daniel?
Hello, guys. My two brothers from different mothers. How are you guys doing? Pleasure to be here.
Very good. Very good. Welcome to Soul Brothers, and thanks for jumping onto the show. We hope you're doing well on your big day today, because today is launch day. So
tomorrow is TG. Today is pre-sale, but yes, it's the days are blurring together.
Oh, okay. Then we are all right. Okay. All right. Nick, if you're backstage, maybe you can change the title. It's not TG today. It is pre-sale today. Anyway, this is a big moment for you, though, because you've been working towards this for a long time, and token launch. obviously pre-sale and then right after the actual launch of the token, is one of the biggest moments for a crypto founder. And how do you feel? How do you feel today, right now, like after waking up, after working pretty relentlessly over the past couple of weeks and months, so close to TG? I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, yeah, the real work begins when the token is live and after, blah, blah, blah. We know that. But how do you feel right now? Like, what's going through your mind before we jump into the specifics?
I mean, all of that is true, but also I'm scared. Also, I'm excited. Sleepless. I was gonna say, like, you guys, like the intro pictures of you two when you go in, you look so young and fresh. I'm still saying you both look very handsome still, of course. There's more matured. And when I look at myself, like pictures from 2 years ago, I feel like crypto does that to everybody. I look like a fresh year-long duckling 2 years ago. And now I look at myself, I'm like, Jesus Christ. So it's a lot of that. It's definitely terrifying for the right reasons, though. I feel in the life of any man, you got to fight the good fights. I feel this is a good fight. So yeah, ready to go to battle for it. And yeah, there's no coming back after that. Like tomorrow's a huge day. It is the biggest moment for any company. Going live with the token is essentially aligning yourself to your community, is being able to win together. That's what a token ultimately is for. If that's not your main plan with it, then you shouldn't launch one. We thought long and hard about launching a token because I do think that 90+% of the tokens out there should not exist. Happy to explain why ours should. But yeah, it's a big moment. Very excited, restless, sleepless. The team is now with me here and back home. We're setting up ballroom for the next coming days. So yeah, all the right things are happening. And I'm glad to be able to be part of the Zo Brotherhood right now.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You know?
Well, yeah, if your company doesn't have a war room for your TGE, they are not going to fucking make it. But fortunately, our friends over at NOMU do. All the best companies do it. Obviously, you could do that remotely, but with the amount of coordination and random shit that happens on TGE day, it's best if you have really, really high information bandwidth. And no better way to do that than in person. So thanks for taking time out of your very, very busy schedule. I'm sure there are 1,000 different things that you have to complete by the end of today. I also doubt that you'll be getting any sleep over the next couple of days, but that's the fight, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. A little bit. Walk us through the roadmap, Daniel. What I don't want to do this interview today actually is I don't want to go too deep into the whole startup pitch and everything. You've done this like 5,000 times in the past weeks. You're probably boring yourself talking about it. I know it's your baby and you're excited about your company. I get you, but also let's just talk about some other stuff. If you want to learn shit about NOMU, then there's so many great resources out there. We're going to talk about high level what it is, sure. But if you want to really do a deep dive, then please read the articles on X on the NOMU account, because they're really well written. I know they're written by Dani, 99% sure, because he's very good at doing these deep dives, very analytical, and it explains not only the article about tokenomics that not only explains the token, but there's also an article out there that explains the core concept about NOMU and what it is and what it does. Is it still the Kickstarter of Web3? Is that still the?
That was a good analogy. That's a good way of thinking it. Yeah. Kickstarter, where you actually get money back when you invest in those products.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So that makes sense. But let's just from my side, my question, and you'll go after. But from my side, what I need right now is just a little roadmap. Like, where are we right now? What's happening? What happened last week? Token related. What's happening today? Token related. And what's gonna, what's happening tomorrow? A little bit of the mechanics around it, so people just get a TLDR of everything about the $ NOMU.
Sure, absolutely. I agree with you, by the way. I don't want to make this like a half an hour shilling session about NOMU. There's no point in that. No one wants to hear that. We can also speak about, token launch is a big subject today still.
Yep.
Launchpads coming out left, right, and center. We can speak about Meteora, which obviously we're going to use for our own token launch. And Simon, you and I, we launched together Solana ID. So there's a lot of common history back there. To answer quickly your question. So last week, we conducted our first pre-sale on Swissbook, which I originate from. I did love the product there for many, many years. And we sold that out. It's great. So today's the last pre-sale, which is on Bookpad, which I co-founded 2 years back, and where we launched Solana ID. And then tomorrow there's TG. So the TLDR for what you need to know about the NOMU token is that its whole tokenomics is based on reflexive buybacks. We are a marketplace where we sell real world products. That's kind of the Kickstarter analogy. You could also use Amazon. with that hazard reflex commerce. Every single time a product sells on NOMU, buybacks of the NOMU token happen, and they're redistributed to new holders, i.e. the users, the buyers of those products. It's an amazing flywheel that allows us to grow very, very quickly. There's the token is inherently linked to the business success, which is very important. And from there, now tomorrow there's TG. We're doing this the right way, and I have very strong conviction about what the right way is. It's a fair launch by the books. What does a fair launch mean? First of all, there's no asymmetry. There's no asymmetry between insiders and community. No one got in on better terms. No one got in at a low valuation. That doesn't exist. Everybody got in at a super low valuation of $1.5 million. It is 100% unlock at TG. There's no vesting nonsense. Ambassadors are the only ones who get vested over price, so there's no way of dumping on the community. There's no VCs, no market makers, no paid sex listings, none of that nonsense happening. It's by the books how it should be. It's broad by design. We're going to launch with over 1,000 holders on day one because of the pre-sales. Pre-sales were like $50 tickets, super small. The one was distribute the ownership of the token. And we managed to do that so far, so very happy. And the big day is tomorrow when we're going to be live, and you can buy it on any DEX on Jupiter included, but any DEX on Solana.
Right. You can also buy it on Titan, I suppose.
You can also buy it on Titan. You can also buy it from the Soulflare wallet directly.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. You know, like it's quite a different setup from a lot of token launches, right? Don't you think? Like when I like super low tickets, like pre-sale tickets of $50, like even today the pre-sale, right? Like the one on Blockpad, it's gonna be max $50, right? Per
it's
wallet.
bullshit to do it. Like it was terrifying because essentially I did the math and we needed roughly 1,000 individuals. Because in Swiss, they're all KYC'd as well. So it's not like 1,000 wallets and like the same wallets, same people with 3 different wallets. It's all KYC'd users. So it's 1,000 individuals that had to invest, and it happens. We sold out like within 2 hours, which is amazing.
Yeah. If there's a person that I would trust with a TGE, it would be Daniel, but only because he's seen so many, right, posted under his belt at this point. So he has just a lot of experience with what works and what doesn't work, and that informs a lot of the strategy, I'm sure, with his token, right? He's taking all of that wealth of experience and trying to apply those lessons into his own token launch. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about your NFT presale, because I remember when we discussed it in Tokyo, I was like, I remember you telling me that like how much you sold them for and how many you sold, and I just thought to myself, like, that can't be true. He's not lying, but like he must be fudging the numbers a little bit, right? Like, no, it was 100% true. What did you achieve when you were in Tokyo this year?
So that is the first time we saw each other or maybe not the first time, I don't know. We saw each other a bunch of times this year, but was hosting Super Team, what was it called? The Builders Week, so Super Tokyo Startup Village. That's what it was, exactly. Super Tokyo, and then afterwards a week of Startup Village. emceed all of it, of course. Like, who else would you call for that? And so we spent a lot of time together. And that was right at the beginning of the week in Tokyo. So it was 1 week where all the Solana startups that were part of Super Team Japan were kind of co-working together for a week. And then at the end, it was a demo day. At the beginning of the week, we said, like, well, this week we're going to launch our NFT collection on a market on Solana that's still right now is pretty dead. Like, nothing's happening. Like, we kind of feel like something is sparked, maybe happening in the market, which is great. But in August, middle of summer, I can guarantee there's nothing. But we had to do it for different reasons. We wanted to consolidate our community. We felt that we had something already, and it was time to, materialize it through this NFT collection, which gave them early ownership of NOMU and like rewards, all that thing. And we sold 1,000 NFTs at one sell, which at the time was exactly $180, something like that. So $180,000 of pre-sale. And that essentially was twice as much volume as any other collection on Solana, including Mad Lads, including SMB, on those 2 days. So we became the #1 collection on Solana for 2 days in a row. We sold out all 1,000 of them, and just it became the biggest NFT pre-sale by market cap in all of summer. If not, since we reached $1 million market cap as well. So like, it's done a 4x from the pre-sale price. Hope you guys still hold yours if you have them. I can't remember, but it's been a fun journey so far, and it was amazing. Just a way to see that our community really showed up, and you only know what you have and you have to step into the arena. And until then, you can say as much as you want, but every now and then you got to step into the arena. And that I'm very glad that we won that fight. And it was an amazing experience. Happy to do it by your side as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think phenomenal because it's not very often that you get to tell people that. And yeah, in 2025, I sold out, 1,000 NFTs, and not only that, but the price is 4x. I mean, you just don't hear a lot of stories like that on the timeline anymore.
How do
I
you feel
remember
about?
you thought
Sorry,
you didn't believe
go
me,
ahead.
like when I first told you we were gonna do that.
No,
It's
I
like,
didn't.
no, you called me stupid. Like, you didn't call me stupid because you're too nice to do that. But along the way, like, well, like, you sure you wanna do that? Like, you were questioning at least.
Yes, I was definitely not a believer, but clearly Daniel proved me wrong. So major congratulations. I'm not afraid to be wrong, when I'm wrong. And clearly, Daniel can pull off things with his community that I didn't think were even possible in today's market. So I think that's all very bullish for your launch, as well as the pre-sales and everything. It's a good signal in the noise.
Yes, absolutely.
Let me be bad cop. If I would have to criticize something with a gun to my head, right? And I'd look out from the outside on NOMU, and I look at everything you do, I'd be like, why the fuck are you extracting so much money from the market? What do you like? NFT launch here, pre-sale there, like another pre-sale there, then token launch. Are you going to launch another token or what? Like it's like a lot of things, like a lot of capital accumulation. How do you feel? Like, do you get that sometimes from people? Like, do you get people that tell that actually to you, or have you seen it somewhere? If not, then they're probably just not saying it, because like if they don't know you, if they don't know NOMU, and they just look from the outside, I think it is a viable critique to say that you just because you can also build a startup technically like Echo and get acquired for $375 million from Coinbase without any token, NFT, whatever, right? So how do you feel about like having all these assets out there, having all these stakeholders now out there looking at you like and expecting some return and everything? I think it's it is very successful, like what you're doing so far, but it also adds a big layer of stress and pressure because you do have so many stakeholders that are now expecting things to happen, right? Like, okay, so a lot of things to unpack here. First question: do you get that sometimes, like that people like say, okay, you're extracting, why do you launch so much? And then what is like, why do you launch so much? Like, what's the actual, like, just tell us without expanding too far out there, why the NFT and why the token is so relevant for the whole operation here.
Sure. I haven't really gotten it. I got it maybe once from people that join us as investors later on, just because they didn't understand the dual assets and how each would get rewards back and what the flywheel behind those were. But really, I haven't gotten it once because the whole point that we do is to not extract, right? First of all, we haven't raised a lot of money. We raised in total around 300K, which by all means in accounting crypto is just nothing. That's one engineer's salary over a year, really, like a good engineer. So we really haven't extracted anything at all. And the whole point of, so what is crypto all about? The core purpose, the difference between Web 2 and Web 3 is ownership, right? I can read and write the web on Web 2. I can read, write, and own the web on Web 3. So if you're a B2C company, you want to go into Web 3, you got to ask yourself, why do you want to go into Web 3? The right reason of why to go into Web 3 is because if you're building B2C, you don't want to have clients, you want to have a community. I think that's the biggest takeaway from crypto and business, that people want to belong and they want to participate and win together with the project and the brands that they like. I'm off all the low flow, high the insider sniping nonsense of the last few years, which is complete ridiculous. The one thing that we learned is that there's a genuine desire of the broader retail public to be part of the economy, to be part of the future, to materialize the convictions and have a high degree of loyalty and connection with the projects they believe in. And for that, the token is amazing. That's the real utility of it. If you can, but the token needs to make sense, of course. And token independently, whether it's an NFT, fungible or non-fungible token, doesn't matter. It needs to align community and the brand. For us, it makes a lot of sense for that specific reason. It's because the whole flywheel of the token, that's why we're also doing it the way we're doing it, launching at $1.5 million FTV, which is nothing. Because we want to, instead of raising, let's say, rounds behind doors, which is classically would have done any other company, or like at least for the last few years, you would have done a pre-seed at this valuation. You would have done a seed at 10x from that, 10 mil. Then essentially would have another order of magnitude above that would have been a good Series A, and then maybe you do Series B if you really do like a big heavy thing that needs heavy engineering, and then you go to market at several hundred millions of dollars of FDV. You haven't really tested the market, because why would you? Because it's easier to raise money when you can still project numbers than having to show real numbers. And then the whole thing happens that we've seen in the last few years, right? So we do the other way around. We don't do any primary sales behind closed doors. It all happens on chain. It all happens with the community at the heart, because we believe that the primitive of Web3 is win together with your community. And for that, you need to give them skin in the game. And so that's what these two assets are for. But it needs to be, that's why we're doing very small tickets. Like no one invested more than $5,000 in NOMU. Not a single person today invested more than 5K into NOMU. So it's super, like it was a ton of work to align all of these big guys in Solana as well, which like 5K is like pocket change for them. Be like, no, I can't give you more. Like this is the max ticket, but come in, win with us, and have wide distribution of NOMU. And that's what we achieve to do. So it is really the opposite of extraction. That's why I haven't gotten it much. And I think people see that relatively quickly. And if not, then it's just a misconception and pride bias of like, I've seen so many projects that launch NFT plus token. It always ended up the same way. That's why we're doing it differently.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's pretty much it, right? Like some people might have some PTSD from that setup, from some prior project without naming names. Like there have been, a few, but they also did what you just said, everything opposite, like very high FDVs, high valuations for token and NFTs, inside allocations and so on. So again, I think very unique approach, really, like when the way you guys do it. What about the execution part of the TG itself? Like how's the setup looking? Where's what tools are you using for launching the token? There's a few launch pads on Solana that are fighting with each other all the time. Why do you go the way? I mean, you're obviously the co-founder of Blockbed, but like why do you go that path? Give us for people that might not be familiar with the setup you're using, give us also the reasons why you think this is a good setup for token launch.
Sure. I mean, as you remember from Solana D days and TG, I have pretty strong opinions and convictions, which might also be wrong sometimes. But as Ina said, I like to think that I was able to see more than the average person, and from there form convictions from experience. And there's definitely right ways of doing it, and as a consequence, wrong ways of doing it. What we are using primarily, to answer your question, from all the launch pads, and no hate to any one of them, I'm just going to speak about what we use specifically for us and what works for us. A big part of it is done on Meteora. The simple reason, from my biased opinion and subjective opinion, is that as a team, they push the boundaries the most in terms of composability. That's the key word here. How easy it is and how nuanced you can make a launch as a team building on top of Meteora in a permissionless way. Other launch pads, when it actually comes to liquidity provision, are very strict. Like you have the big one is Radium, which is the tried and tested one, and you can do things on Radium, which is cool, and it's going to work. You have Pump as another big one, but it's a very specific type of launch. You don't really have much ways to play, and you either follow one playbook, which is the meme coin playbook that Pump does, or you don't do it. Meteora allows you to do a bunch of really cool things and allow you to explore new models, push the boundaries, which is what the whole NOMU launch is all about. For instance, as briefly mentioned earlier, which we can say full disclosure, all three of us here, we are part of the ambassador group at NOMU. And that means that we are the only ones that are actually vested in the token launch. And we're not vested by time, which is what everybody does until now. Even Meteora, weirdly enough, I don't understand why they've done it that way. But everybody, the vesting height works, for those who haven't been part of pre-sales and allocations, that kind of thing, is you have cliff and vesting. Cliff is you get your tokens locked for a period of time, and then vesting happens usually linearly over time. So let's say every month or every week or every day, you get your tokens unlocked continuously over the next couple of weeks, month, whatever the vesting period is. A better way of doing it, in my opinion, is why look at time as a measure of vesting? Look at price as a matter of vesting. Why would you look at price rather than time? Because if you look at price, then you're incentivized. You only get your token once you reach price milestones, which by design is a much better incentive than just looking at time and waiting it out. And whatever happens, I get my tokens, I can just dump them. The only way I get tokens is if we reach price milestones. That for me is an inherently better primitive of unlocking tokens. I hope that more people are going to do it. It seems very straightforward. And Meteora allows you to do that, for instance, using their DLLM setup, which essentially is just liquidity pools per price. And so I can unlock those as price goes up. There's a bunch of really cool things you can do like that. If we go more into detail, I guess it would get too complex, but that's a very good example of how you can do really cool things.
Actually, one question that I have is, what TGEs have you seen in the last year that you respect? And what do you think that they've done well? Maybe even stuff that you think they didn't do so well. Just curious, like what? I have a very uneducated point of view in terms of what TGEs I think went well, right? And the uneducated person's point of view is like price go up, good, right? But I'm sure there's a lot more nuance than that. So I'd love to get someone's take, someone who's actually been in the sauce and is doing it himself. You know, what are some TGEs that stood out to you in the last year?
Sure. I mean, as a nuance as well, a TGE really is just the first step. Like it matters a lot because a lot of attention comes into it at the moment. But what matters more, as you say, is what does it do post TGE? And it's like the Big Bang. At the beginning, the Big Bang is everything, but as time goes on, it becomes this faraway memory, and what you look at is the present. So the way I judge, well, you can see what happens pre-TG. That usually gives you a really good idea already what the token is going to do and what the intentions of the team are. If you look, for instance, just because it was the most recent one, if you look at Meteora, what they've done is really, really good. You had a really good repetition of token allocations. You want to make sure that the team doesn't keep too much for themselves and make sure that the vesting makes sense. And bias as well, but one of the ones that I respect the most is Export, which is our own family token here. But like they also went, all the tokens are unlocked. All the tokens are unlocked. The only ones that are locked are the team. Great. That's exactly how it should be. That's Meteora did the same thing, by the way. So we're going to do the same thing as well. It also depends on proportions. I think Flash Trade, to make it relevant here, did an amazing job. Beyond TGE, what they do with the token syncs, which is the most important thing with the token. And a token sync simply is, it's another way of saying token utility. But utility often is referred to some kind of, well, traditionally some kind of governance mechanism or something slightly like painful to understand and to implement. It doesn't really flow organically. A sync is more importantly, what is the token used for? How does it accrue value? Or in other words, where does the demand for the token come from beyond speculation? That's a token sync. People are always going to have demand for speculation, but you need to have something that's more than speculation. Otherwise, it simply is a meme coin with a suit. And a lot of tokens are like that, by the way. But the rev share, whatever they call it on Flash Trade, the way it works with the pool being assured from the trading fees, and then you can stake your FAF, and then you get, it's amazing, great. That's an amazing model of doing it, and essentially it's a good proxy for business success accrues to the token without it being a security, without qualifying for all of that nonsense. And as regulation becomes clearer, you can even do more creative, more cool stuff with it. So whether it's buybacks, whether it's what Flash Trade does, is a bunch of really cool things that are happening in space. I think the space is maturing a lot very quickly. I think Simon and I were having discussions very early on about this last year. The space clearly wasn't ready yet, and now we caught up, which I'm very happy to see about. But those are just two examples, for instance.
Cool.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
What's your supply sync while we're at the topic? What's the token sync for the NOMU token?
Yeah, I mean, that's the $1 million question, to be honest. Thought about this long and hard. You need to have a mechanism that just makes sense. And in my opinion, that doesn't depend on market conditions. My main criticism for buybacks, which is kind of all the rage at the moment, is that buybacks, if you look at traditional finance, buybacks are frowned upon because it's capital inefficient. What a buyback does is essentially saying is revenue that could have kept for the company to invest in product, reinvest in growth, and I'm using instead to buy back my own asset to please holders in the short term. It's fine. If you're Apple and you sit on God knows how many trillions of dollars of treasury, as an early startup, does it make sense? It's almost like paying dividends. It usually does not make sense. So when we looked at how we accrue value back in the token and how we execute buybacks, it was very important to me that buyback did not depend on NOMU revenue, meaning that I can both grow the company as well as buy back my token simultaneously without sacrificing one for the other. And the way we do it, we're in a very lucky position that what we're building is a marketplace. It's what we call the first spend to earn marketplace. It's going to be on Solana, where I buy products, and because my money funds the product and my words make the product succeed, hype it, I get to share the upside of the product. So I buy the product and I earn when it sells. That's the whole primitive. And for that, we take part of the margin of the product, which every product has, and reallocate it to a rewards pool, which is then used to buy back the token and then redistribute it to the buyers of the product. So we add, every single time we do a new sale, we add new token holders, which is amazing for us. And we add buying pressure onto the token. critically, this buyback does not come from treasury. So it doesn't depend if I have money in a bear market or I don't have money in the bear market, and then I need to stop buybacks, which would make the token price go to hell. It comes from the margin of the product itself. And the pitch for that is you need to convince the product. And it's very simple. Instead of having a customer acquisition cost of God knows how much which actually is close to your heart, Simon, of God knows how much in to pay for Meta ads or Google ads, and you actually take your most loyal users, the ones that believe in you, and make them ambassadors, make them become brand advocates with you, make them win with you. If you let them own the upside and share the upside of the product, meaning that they earn when it sells and you win together, these guys, first of all, their LTV, so their lifetime value, goes through the roof, because they never experienced a loyalty mechanism like that before. Like the best they ever got was Amex points, and Amex points suck. Like they were invented 30 years ago, 50 years ago, whatever it was, and it's within a closed system. It depends on terms and conditions, and it's not liquid. What we're giving you here is liquid rewards, real money that you can sell. You can do whatever you want with it. It's open, composable. You can go in DeFi with it. You can do whatever you want. So you win with the company. And then we say, like, well, your normal CAC, which usually is like a 20 to 30% of the total cost of the product, instead of using that for stupid Facebook ads, how about you try giving it to your most loyal supporters and grow from grassroots ups with them and let them do the marketing for you, the word of mouth, let them shill for you on the market, because you allow them to do that. And it's a very easy pitch for products to understand. And so we've got a whole pipe lined up of launches. We're going to launch, just for timeline, we're going to launch the first product with a spend-to-own marketplace. We call it reflexive commerce because it makes sense. But November, with one of the biggest IPs on Solana. I can't say it yet, but you are all holders of it, I'm pretty sure. So it's going to be real good fun. And from there, we're just going to scale. We're going to do scale vertically, horizontally across product categories, across markets. And we're just going to also open up the deal flow so more people can come in, and it all goes through a token. So whenever the revenue, so the rewards, whenever product sells, that margin is taken to buy back the NOMU on the open market and redistribute it to people. So it does not come from our own treasury, and this flywheel keeps spinning. And so essentially, as your NOMU holder, you perceive every single dollar of sales on the NOMU platform directly as a buyback into the token. That's it. Super simple.
I see.
And
So you're saying that when people buy the Soul Brothers man thong, that they'll earn NOMU?
They're pumping our back.
Are we releasing? Okay.
Well, we gotta do the bunchies. We gotta do the banana hammocks, man. I don't got much of a banana, but I would like a hammock for it.
You gotta wear it, bro.
You got it exactly right. So the bull case for NOMU is you guys have a community that NOMU doesn't have yet. So when people buy the budgie smugglers of Eno with Eno and Simon's face on the bum, then a part of the revenue from that will be used to buy back NOMU on the open market, and that is redistributed to the buyers. And then they can sell it if they want to, that's fine. It will be delta neutral on the price, worst case, because we just put it back on the market. So price buying pressure equals at worst selling pressure, atomically speaking. But because not everybody sells everything and we don't redistribute everything anyway, it's net buying pressure. And on top of that, we get new token holders and they get liquid rewards and they can do whatever they want with that. And that's the next step, in my opinion, of loyalty, of commerce that works for you. You as a consumer have the power. You make products succeed. It's time you win with them. That's the kind of model.
I mean, everything you said was correct, except for it's not going to be on the bum. It's going to be on the cock. Anyways, moving on. So,
hey, who makes these decisions here in this company, my friend? Like, we got to have a word. We got some comments in the live stream.
Who's the creative director of Soul Brothers?
Probably not us. Like, neither of us.
I'll tell you what, I'll put the shit up for a community vote. I already know what they're going to say. Bum or cock?
Very good. What are you? You're bum man or cock man? Anyway, when Manthong says CSE, crypto sales expert, when Manthong. So we got to work on that. But yeah, that's pretty much what the NOMU marketplace is going to feel like. Like you can buy products that are funny and maybe a bit weird or serious from your favorite brands. For now, across crypto. Right, like I think the target market for now are crypto companies, I guess Solana niche to begin with, but technically I could onboard everyone on the marketplace. technically, right? Like you have it's e-commerce.
That's right. It's going to start with Solana brands just because of the cultural proximity. People understand ICMs. It works a lot. In this case, it's just ICMs for consumers. But clearly, the path is, if we do what I think we will do with this first big launch, which is then is like a top 3 brand in Solana, like not like literally top 3, they can kind of guess, I guess, who. If that works and we do the numbers that I think we will do, the next step is essentially 1 or 2 more big names, Solana or across chains in crypto. And then essentially it's used. If you look at the examples of what's happened like this in the past, one of the best ones is Rect. They've done an amazing job, to be honest. Rect, their flywheel, and they've done it with Jupiter, they've done it with Abstract, they've done it with whoever, with OpenSea. And now they got into 7-Eleven because they were able to showcase those numbers and incentivize the selling of real world products, in this case drinks, incentivize through the tokens. It comes from Treasury, so there's I love. I mean, what Owi has done is incredible, and I have admiration for him from both sides of from head to toe. The danger of it is the tokens are unlocked via Treasury. They kind of kept like a rewards pool at the beginning that they allocated from tokenomics, and now that's unlocked. They do buybacks now because they realized. But I think if you do it from the beginning, from real economics, unit economics, which is it all comes from buybacks, it's more sustainable. But essentially, it doesn't go too far away from what they achieved to do. So then you go Web 2, and you get the biggest brands to come in, you get new retail come in, and ironically, it might be one of the most powerful ways or more powerful Trojan horses to get people back in, because the whole flow of NOMU, it won't feel like crypto. At the beginning, yes, but we are building a flow that is completely crypto agnostic. You come in with your Google account, you buy with your credit cards, and only at the end, when you want to get your reward, your NOMU tokens, it will be in a pre-funded wallet for you. So we're currently talking to as partners that you guys are very close to kind of do that wallet infrastructure. And at that point, it's the single best incentive I can give you to onboard crypto, because you have literally money waiting for you in a wallet. So it's a very good way of onboarding new users as well. And if all goes well, that's what the next few months are going to look like.
Interesting.
Yeah. Rect is super interesting. I would have loved to have been in the room when they negotiated that 7-Eleven deal. Like, I just love to understand. I mean, there's a lot of assumption on our side about how they got that deal. But I mean, clear to the crux of their argument is, hey, look at like all of these new drinkers or beverage, kind of a customers I can bring to 7-Eleven. This is going to resonates with this consumer base. Like, this is probably people who are going to your stores. I'm just like very, very interested in how they achieve that, because it's not easy, right? To get distribution into 7-Eleven of all places. Like, they have so many different product categories that are trying to get stocked there.
And limited space, like by definition, 7-Eleven
very limited. Yeah, it's not Costco.
It's very competitive. I mean, we studied the playbook of Owi and Rec quite a lot, because it was very inspiring to us. Another good example is Collector Crypt, by the way, for this RWA consumer meta that's happening. But going back to Rec specifically, they've managed to leverage one metric above all else, and that was the key to their success. If you look at Rec sales, it looks a bit like this. It's flat, spike, flat, spike, flat, spike. Those spikes are the launches of Jupiter, of Abstract, of Rect, of OpenSea. In the middle of those launches, not much is sold. But essentially what Rec can go to is it can go to 7-Eleven, to all the other big retailers in Web 2 and be like, I can sell out, in total, I think they sold more than 1 million cans by now, but I can sell out 220,000 cans in 17 minutes. That's more than Coke does in the entire state of California in those 17 minutes. It's crazy numbers. So being able to come to retail with those numbers and be like, hey, I'm up and coming. You can position yourself ahead of this. Probably the deal is very beneficiary for 7-Eleven, of course, as well, because they hold the asymmetry. But nonetheless, if you can leverage that number, and he was incredibly successful, and the BD team is incredible. I don't know if he does it himself or if he has help with that, but that BD team is insane. And so that you leverage that number and then you extrapolate from it. Pudgy Penguins, by the way, same thing. They have sold like 20, if I'm not wrong, like take away the pinch of salt, but I think $20 million worth of plushes last year. $20 million is a lot, but it's not that much for a market cap of 7 billion. So if you look at it from a TradFi perspective, like the PE ratio would be ridiculous. But they got into Walmart because they were able to showcase.
You got to look at these companies like they are companies.
No. You're right. No, I just did the. I'm just like, yeah, no, you're right. But yeah, they went into Walmart and they were able to,
They went into Walmart because they were able to show the same thing. Like, I'm able to sell this many plushes to my community in this amount of time, and then Walmart took a bet on them, and then obviously they can leverage that for the next one, But there's a lot to be done still. I think Pudgies did a first really good step in it. Rect, Collector Crypt, it's all going in the right direction. I do think that there's a lot of pent up demand for real world assets and to make crypto real, and the power of capital formation in crypto. So the ability to raise money. And you saw that with MetaDAO recently, like Umbra, like you guys are very close to the team, right? $153 million, it's just ridiculous. That power can and should arguably be used to impact the real world too. And that's kind of the bridge we are trying to close with NOMU in just through a marketplace of real world products. Because wherever you put money in this world is you're going to dictate what the world will look like. If we all give all our money to Jeff Bezos tomorrow to fund Blue Horizon, whatever maybe Blue Horizon will go to Mars before SpaceX, right? So wherever you put money into this world, money is a very good proxy for energy, and we all exchange our time for money. That's what we do all day long. So wherever I put my money is also an extrapolation of my own time and my own energy. So it's very important that you understand that there's real life consequences to wherever you put your money to, and we want to apply it to the real world through the real products. And in our case, once you start owning the upside of a product, you think less about how cheap it is. And so it's less about quick dopamine in the moment of like just buying something right now because it's a deal, it's Black Friday, to what is the potential future value of that product. And so even the whole like overconsumption that we live in today, there's like cheap Facebook ads, it always kind of put on its head if we manage to execute the way I imagine it. And I think we'll end up having a better consumer society through that. That's the highest possible vision.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, it's good to have, like, this is not the future next year. Obviously, we know that. Yeah. But it definitely, it's in a good time window, this narrative right now, because the world is kind of fucked when it comes to consumerism. And literally every day I get fucking packages from Shein in my doorstep, and I'm like, what the fuck? What are all these things doing?
I mean, you're in a peculiar situation because you have a little love boo-boo who loves
Yeah, this is ridiculous. And then there's so many gimmick. But like, it's a good point. Like, you're thinking about it, but I actually do believe, like, in my case, my girlfriend would still buy these products if she would ask herself the question, does this have potential? Oh yeah, it fucking has. I'm gonna buy it. Like, she actually believes these things.
If your girlfriend, she saw the program, like, not only do I love this cute bag, whatever it is, but on top of that, I get to win with it. And like, in fact, when I wear it, I become an ambassador. And so the more I wear it, the more kind of inherent publicity I do for it, the more it would sell, the more I earn. Like, it's a very powerful loop 100%. Behind that in terms of loyalty and how the emotional connection you feel to a brand.
Yeah, it's all ownership, right? That's the not just monetary ownership, but also like mental, emotional ownership of whatever the fuck you're buying there, which is a different kind of reality than we're living in today. So I do really think the high level vision here is something you can talk about without sounding too tuned out of the reality, because it is important, right? It's an urgent topic right now in this world. And we talk all day long about how we need more use cases for crypto and how we need more, we need actual products and apps that will drive adoption and all these fucking words we always use. And here we are talking to NOMU, right? Like, I feel like it is it is refreshing between all the DeFi and whatever else is going on in Solana. Like, usually you have these trends and everyone is building this and that. But this is refreshing, right? It's a new kind of niche, I think, that where you guys put yourself in. And even when it comes to competition, like, I don't even know, who do you compete with?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I have to draw comps because it's important to do so. But in Web3, the closest comps are Rect and Collector Crypt that have a token. You also have the other ones because Collector Crypt does it specifically with collector cards, like Pokemon cards and NFL cards, kind of thing. But ultimately, it's the same principle. The one thing that no one does is that reflexive part of, I can win with you. Like on Collector Crypt, you can kind of resell them back, and if you're lucky, you get like a high value, and you can get some quick speculative money out of that. But the long-term alignment of win with me over time, that no one does yet. But I hope, as you say, like that's the other thing that I feel really strongly about. Consumer crypto does not have to be token speculation. Like it needs to go beyond that. At one point, if we don't manage to evolve beyond it, we'll just end up having meme coin 2.0 in 3 years, and then meme coin, it needs to evolve beyond speculation. Like there's so much stronger use cases for crypto. Like if you look at the original cypherpunks, it is not intended for speculation. Even Solana itself, the purpose of the Solana token is not a speculative token. It's to secure a decentralized layer. Like it's super important to do so. It's an economic stake in this decentralized blockchain. Then of course people add layers of decentralization and of speculation on top, which is fine because human psychology is wired for that. But like, arguably that's where the world is going towards. But I'm not sure if that's a better world. And secondly, it's certainly not the only thing that crypto can do or should do.
Speculation is a key part of the whole crypto universe, but it shouldn't be the only part of the crypto universe. That's kind of the take I have. Like it's fine if we have meme coins as a niche, as a vertical, and everything that belongs to it, which is purely speculation. It's fine if we have prediction markets, which is honestly more than speculation if you extrapolate what you can do with it with the polls and data. But it's still speculation in the first level. It's good to have these things, but it shouldn't be like the toolbox we have allows for so much more. That would be a waste to only pick that one fucking tool and be this is what I have. Like this is what I do here. We can do more with that. And I think it takes time, right? Innovation takes time, and things fail, things succeed. So time will tell.
And to bring it back to you guys, I know that you guys agree with this because both of your projects, what you guys have spent a significant time of your life on, is not speculative. Like Solana ID is not speculative. Stable coins are not speculative by definition. So I almost think that wouldn't we all feel when someone asks you from your friend group, like your aunt asks you, "Oh, so what do you do now? What do you do for work?" I struggle saying crypto sometimes because I feel the stigma is still very high, and she wouldn't understand. And the only thing you remember is those stories, FTX, and like people lost money kind of thing. It's true, but I think this cycle, if the crypto's now existed for what? For Bitcoin was done in 2009, 2010, Ethereum 2014. It's existed for more than a decade. If after a decade we can't move beyond just that one use case, then we're probably going to be limited to that for the foreseeable future. So I think this is critically a cycle where we need to go beyond that.
Well, I think. What's your take on all of this before we're closing the show?
Yeah, I mean, so I struggle with this a lot. So first of all, I agree with you 100%. Like even my in-laws, they because in Korea, one of the biggest project to come out of Korea ended up being one of the biggest rugs of the last cycle, right? Terra Luna. And so Korea famously at that period of time was all in on crypto. The media was talking about it. Politicians were green lighting it. We had a whole population of engineers who were looking into it. And that was kind of the balloon that popped, that ruined the party for everybody. And now it's like, it's taboo almost to be like, I work in crypto is like most certainly a red flag. It's like, there's no way I'm letting my daughter marry this asshole. He works in crypto. Like there's no fucking way. Right.
Just the IT. That's what I do.
Yeah. IT. And but if you really look at where crypto is going right now, I mean, the unfortunate, I don't know, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, but we essentially are just taking TradFi and putting it on crypto rails. Like we started out with all of these first principles of like privacy is a good thing. And like, we want to have sovereign money that is not tied to fiat currency. And we want a real store of value that's not gold or whatever. Right. And it's like how it's playing out right now is very much just like TradFi on chain. And then like we have a bunch of experimentation now, whether it be futarchy, whether it be NOMU, whether it be different types of LPing, which has just never been done before, where anybody can contribute capital for swaps. So I'm just wondering, I mean, like obviously there's going to be a lot of waste in this experimentation. All experimentation requires waste because like if everything just worked on first go, then it's not experimentation. But I'm just kind of curious, like how you view exploring new things in an uncertain world and like there is a non-zero probability that NOMU will not work out, like just as a concept, right? That doesn't mean that we shouldn't try it, that we shouldn't push for it. I'm just kind of curious how you think about innovating and trying new things, and kind of where you think crypto's upside is now.
I mean, first of all, yes, there's it's not close to 0% that NOMU doesn't work out. Like any early startup, there's a very high chance, in fact. So we obviously doing our best for that not to be the case, but the truth is it's risky, it's early on, so take that into account. Beyond that, I think you just gotta use to, as you say, like the analogy of putting Wall Street on chain, it could not be more accurate. That's exactly what we're doing, and in fact, the truth is a lot of Solana marketing goes around, what they call it ICMs. It's a lot of partnering with institutions, partnering with big, and it's fine because it's a big part of the adoption curve for crypto, and I think it's essential, in fact. And no one does it better than Solana. Like that's I think it's been the biggest USP of this ecosystem compared to Ethereum, for instance. That being said, it's a shame if we limit ourselves. I think it's a closed-minded vision of what it could be, and it's not up to the foundation to come up with those new use cases because it's just critically not their job. They provide infrastructure and they need to go for the big fish. That's their job because they have the leverage to do that. It's to the builders to kind of try and take a step back. And the one thing that crypto lacks critically is originality. The degree of copy pasting, of originality and creativity, the amount of copy pasting that exists in this industry is just ridiculous. Something works, people understand that crypto is narrative driven and meta driven, whatever that word even means. And so then we all just do derivations of the same thing. And some of them will have a better go-to-market, some of them will have the better VCs that back them, introduce the right people, and that's it. There's so many use cases that actually come back from those early primitives that you said, that are underexplored, underutilized. I don't want to talk about NOMU, but we can speak about Solana ID, which I've been bullish on from the first. And speaking about this big post, I did a very big one on Solana when it launched, because it is a complete reversal of the Web2 marketing of push and like very inefficient capital allocation of Google Ads, which essentially is throw a whole bunch of money in the ocean, like a big net, and see what you catch. That's kind of the analogy of what ads on Web2 is. What Web3 does is, and in process, when you do like big net, you destroy the whole ocean with it. And in this case, it's your treasury. Or you catch dolphins and you catch turtles, all of it.
Beautiful.
What Solana ID allows you to do is, instead of throwing that massive net, you see that specific blue marlin or mahi-mahi, whatever it is that you want, and you throw that line and you tell it, and you give it a bait it can't resist, and you take in that mahi-mahi. It's much more capital efficient.
Yep.
And it's much healthier as well for yourself, and just philosophically, it's healthier than having to just shoving down endless data and farming it because you want to be more efficient at this big net throwing thing. And that typically is only doable on, it's not only doable on Web3 rails, but it is most doable on Web3 rails, because the amount of data you can collect on chain to utilize that kind of catching of identifying who the mahi-mahi is only possible on Web3. And most importantly, the mahi-mahi, maybe it's not, because the mahi-mahi gets killed in his analogy. It's not, maybe we should use something slightly different, but critically, the mahi-mahi gets something back for being, it gets the bait.
Right.
No, I mean, I think the analogy is spot on.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's perfect. Let's just end it there. The mahi-mahi, we let it go,
I don't even know that.
Yeah, we let it go, but we have a conversation with the mahi-mahi, and he say, would you like to buy some Solana man-thongs, And he goes, yes, I would.
That's right.
But it is a very valid point, right? Like, I think the TLDR here from this section of the show is that I think NOMU stands as a example of what else we can do in crypto, especially these days, where a lot of attention gets just sucked into one narrative and stays there forever. Which is just the way crypto behaves, right? Because it is narrative driven, and a lot of these projects have tokens, and if they don't jump onto the train, they fear that they miss it. It is just the reality. It's tough to be a founder in this market or in this industry, in this niche, and stick with one fucking thing for longer than a year, because left and right, you get pulled in a lot of directions. So also one quality that we can accredit to Daniel himself as a person, I think, as a founder. You've been very you're very strict with your principles and views, I feel, once you set them, and as long as you feel like they make sense and no one really strongly convinces you otherwise, you hold on to them whatever happens. And you just go with it, which is not common anymore in this world of constant change.
Appreciate it.
I think with these positive words at the end, we should come to a close. Danny, tomorrow is TG. Today is Presale. Give us the facts real quick. I need the time slots. When do we need to be kind of prepared, and where do we go to kind of anticipate these things? Can you share a little bit of details for everyone who wants to check it out?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, do your own research. Secondly, 6 p.m. tonight, CET, so Central European Time, do the conversion from there. On BorgPad is a pre-sale. If you want to make sure that you get in at 1.5 mil FDV, which is the lowest FDV anybody has gone in. It's 100% unlocked tomorrow at TG. Make sure to be there. It might get competitive because it's small allocation, small tickets, but that's the whole point. We want wide distribution. If you miss it, can't get in, you're too late, whatever it is, tomorrow around 2 p.m. TG happens. Again, 2 p.m. Central European Time. You'll be able to go straight on Jupiter and all the dexes, wherever you buy your tokens, and get it there. And if not, on the Swissbook app, which we're also going to be listed on day one there. So that's the exciting bits. It's 100% fair launch in the sense that, again, there's no symmetry. There's no exit liquidity waiting. Just simply, there's no selling pressure that will be there at TG, apart from the small tickets that we're pre-selling today. And the demand is clear for the flywheel that we mentioned earlier. There's no VCs, unlocks. There's no market makers that are ready to manipulate the price in any way, shape, or form. We haven't paid for any sex listings. There's no airdrops. It's just a good launch.
Only up.
That's
Sounds like it can go only up. Too good to be true. Let's see what happens. We're going to anticipate it with a lot of anticipation. And do we have a CA already, Danny, or where can people find to make sure, because there's going to be fake tokens? So what do you advise people to do to kind of stay safe out here?
If you really like what you heard and be like, okay, I want to be there on the minute. Crypto is a harsh environment. It's a lot of sharks around, so be careful. We have a CA, we haven't published it yet because there's likely going to be snipers, and we want to make sure that we mitigate that properly. Be careful at the beginning at launch. The first 10 minutes are the highest risk ones. Why? Because everybody's trying to get you. There's a lot of volatility. There's a lot of attention. Snipers are gonna try and get in, pump the price, dump it back. We're gonna have measures against it. It might mean that the first minute or two there's high fees because we might use Meteora's ASS. It also means that people will probably, if you're on the Telegram groups or you're on X, they might DM you and be like, hey, there's a different way of getting it. Do not answer that. And whenever there's a link, do not click the link. No one of the NOMU team will DM you first. Just wait for us to publish the CA. It will happen as we launch. Within the first 5 minutes of launch, the CA will be live. Then only then buy it. It is not worth trying to get a slightly better valuation at the risk of getting rugged. Wait for the CA. This is a long-term play. NOMU is not over tomorrow. It's not over the day after that. We're here for the next cycles. So just position yourself accordingly. Don't do anything out of greed. Don't do anything out of fear. Generally speaking, not just this. And then everything will be fine.
Awesome. Danny, thank you so much for coming on and swaying a lot. Like, we talked about a lot of things, so that was a very good free-flowing conversation. But we did our duty, and we covered definitely a lot of details around the token launch, which I wanted to, use the time we have with you today. So at the time of recording, it is Monday today. There's the pre-sale going live on BorgPad, and then tomorrow, which is Tuesday, the 28th of October. Is going to be the TGE of the NOMU token, and then after that, it will be trading. It will be live on chain, and you can find it everywhere. So only trust the verified announcements, ideally from the NOMU account on Twitter, which is at. Give us the handle, Danny.
Eat with NOMU, because we're all going to eat well.
Oh man, you stole the fucking ending line. I wanted to say it. God damn it, we're all going to eat well. I waited like the entire fucking podcast and be like, at the very end, I'm gonna start ending. Well, I mean, it's your fucking project, of course you're gonna say it. But I was like, God damn it.
We're gonna cut it. We're gonna cut it. We're
we
gonna cut
can do it again. But just for context, everybody knows like why Wagyu. Like, so our slogan is Wagyu. Like, we're all gonna eat well, Wagyu. Because WAGME is not really a thing anymore. The reality is like there's just too many tokens for WAGME to be true. We're not all gonna make it. Not all tokens are gonna make it. But with NOMU, we believe that we're all gonna eat well. So
Nah, you ruined it.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna close it off here.
I'm kidding.
So much.
We're all gonna
for
eat well.
listening.
Wagyu. We're obviously not gonna make it. But
thank
at
you
the
so much
very
for having
least.
me. It's always a pleasure
of
to
course.
hang out with you guys. I hope to see
Thanks,
you soon.
Daniel.
Awesome.
Bye-bye. Cheers,
Thanks,
guys.
for listening. See you around. Bye-bye. Cut.
And that's a cut.
Okay. Alrighty.
We're gonna end the stream. Thanks everyone for joining.
Yes, sirs and madams. Thanks for showing up here in the stream as well. 700 views now. Pretty good for Monday morning here in Europe and afternoon in Asia. Thanks, guys, for the live stream, for hopping on here as well. We're going to close it down, and we'll catch you again for another live stream on Thursday this week to update you with the latest and greatest again from the Solana ecosystem. So, yeah, make sure to stay tuned for Thursday for the next stream. And yeah, until then, you have a good week. See you guys. I'm going to close the stream.